Hi, my name's Haley. I am a master's student in a Master's of Health Sciences program with a specialty in community health. I'm here to talk today about the experience of being a child of someone experiencing a mental illness. My father has suffered from depression and from a very severe substance abuse and alcoholism issue for as long as I can remember, since I was, that's pretty much my only memory is him suffering from these illnesses. I don't remember a time when he didn't suffer from this. It was very confusing, and as a young child I didn't understand why does Daddy want to drink instead of, coming and hanging out with me, or why does he drink when we go and do these things, or why is he doing this instead of what all my friends say their dads do. I knew the word alcoholic, and I knew that he was an alcoholic and that he suffered from alcoholism, but I never really understood what that exactly meant. I would say after when he had another seizure and he was sent through his work to go to a rehab facility, that was probably when the magnitude of a mental illness and what a mental illness actually was really came into play. And that was probably around when I was 10 was the first time that he went. One particular instance I can think of when I was younger was he has had several seizures that were alcohol-induced, so he lost his license for a period of time. And I remember he would come and pick me up from school with my mom, but he would be sitting in the passenger seat. And my friends would always ask me why my dad couldn't drive. And when you're so young, I never really knew what to say. So I started lying, and I would say, oh, he doesn't like to drive, or my mom just likes to drive, or it's my mom's car, or, anything I could come up with. And that kind of became a theme for why my dad didn't do things, or why my dad did things differently. I lied. When he didn't show up, he showed up late to my grade 8 graduation, and he sat in the back, and everyone asked, where was your dad? Why wasn't he around? Why did he sit in the back? Why didn't you sit with your mom? Why are your parents separating? It just became a series of lies about why my dad was behaving the way he was, because the truth was so horrible. If he needed food or if he needed to go anywhere, I had to drive him. At 16, I was driving him around because he couldn't drive himself. And we couldn't go out for meals together because he didn't have any money to pay it. So if we did want to go out, it was me paying. It's a very hard illness to wrap your head around, because to others it just looks simply like, they're being selfish, or they can just stop, or, they'll stop for someone else, when really the only person someone will stop for is themselves. And definitely learning to support myself through those realizations has been very challenging. So I think not everyone can understand, but I think when people are willing to listen, that's one of the best things you can do, is to surround yourself with people who are willing to listen to you. My relationship with others in my family has definitely shifted throughout the experience of being young, with my father needing care and, kind of forcing me into a caregiver role. I remember we used to team up when, if he had just gone on a binge and had kind of disappeared for a little bit, I would leave and go hang out with my family, like my siblings or my cousins would take me, and we'd go do something really cool, and my mom and her sisters would clean the house of alcohol. And it sounds really morbid and terrible, but it was kind of a team effort to make sure that my mom was supported when she was doing that, and that I was supported because I was so young. I couldn't stick around for that. It became totally okay that my home had broken a little, because I had this whole other really great one that was so supportive. I wouldn't be who I am without what happened to me and without my father. And I can sometimes, if I'm mad and I want to hate him and I want to be angry and knock on him, there are some of the best parts of me that came from him. And I have to acknowledge that. And my dad remains one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. He's one of the best people in the whole wide world. He just happens to have an illness. This has taught me so much about life and learning really how to reconcile things and how to learn forgiveness. In particular, I'm at such a point in my life where I hold the least amount of animosity or anger towards my dad, or frustration. I spent a lot of time being frustrated. One of the things that it took me the longest to realize is that it wasn't about me. What my father has gone through, even the things that I don't even want to use the phrase did to me, because he would never hurt me intentionally. The things that hurt me weren't about me. It was about his illness and the fact that he was managing his pain and his torment the best that he could with the resources he had. And that has been one of the hardest realizations that I've had to make, that it isn't about me. And that's so important to remember, because I think you can really lose yourself particularly with substance abuse. You can really lose yourself in trying to get someone to seek help or wondering where you went wrong. You did nothing wrong. Just like if your parent had cancer, you did nothing wrong. Despite everything and despite anything that may come, I love my father with my whole heart, and I always will. And he will always be my dad. And you know, I'm at such a point where I am not angry. I love him. I want the best for him. I want him to be in the least amount of pain possible. I want him to be as healthy as possible. And whatever that looks like for him is 100% okay with me. You know, just because it so happened that he ended up with this illness doesn't make him any less of a person or any better of a person or anything like that. It just makes him my dad. It's one aspect to his character. It is certainly not his entire person.